Hi, and welcome to this week's installment of Ratio Deco into UTD under the hood. You're probably watching this because of this Ratio Deco, but what I'm going to encourage you to do is to go back and take a look at the whole series prior to watching this one. The reason why I'm saying that is because we've got to meet me, Andrew Georgitsis, and you got to learn about my 30 years of diving background. You got to meet Jeff Sekundorf, the other co-founder of UTD and my business partner, and you know what his background is. You've got to learn about our background as UTD. What are our roots? Where do we come from? DIR, cave country. I mean, you know, what are we talking about here? Of course, our mission and purpose. And of course, our ethos, our covenants, our teaching philosophy, our equipment philosophy. All of these in this video series cover those things. We even take a look at what divers we're looking for. What's the core? How's your mindset? Start with the end goal in mind. I mean, these are all very, very important subjects. Of course, looking at educational philosophy, the training paths, the supporting materials, you know, what do we do for an instructional approach? And even when you're looking at something like gas management, how it speaks to our overall philosophy and how it fits into Ratio Deco. Because without gas management, you can't have Ratio Deco. Ratio Deco, you can't have gas management, you see? And a sense strategy. And that's the key to it. I just said it. It's not a very controversial thing. People turn around and say to me the whole time, is it a scientific model? And I go, are you? What is a scientific model? Scientific model is some guy or gal in a laboratory with a you know, gelatin, bowl of gelatin watching the bubbles grow. Really? Is that you? Are you not a living organism? You know, you got to start out by thinking all of your diving is risk versus benefit. If you don't want to get bent, if you don't want to have any decompression illness at all, don't dive. Go play golf. So much more fun. So every time you dive, you essentially will be absorbing the gases that you're not metabolizing. So that could be helium, could be nitrogen, carbon dioxide, even oxygen. And they could have adverse effects on your body. And not necessarily when you absorb them, like oxygen, yes, but definitely when you're getting rid of them. What is your body and how does it react? How does it change the chemistry of your body? Does it give you red blood cell rigidity? I mean, these are very valid questions. And because you're a living organism, it affects your body differently, not like a gel pack. Not like gelatin in a bowl. Besides the actual physical part of it, you also have to remember that you are also a living human being with a different risk factor. Now, what do I mean by risk factor? Well, I have the full catastrophe. What does that mean? I have 4 kids. I have multiple homes. I have dogs, cats, fish. The full catastrophe, man. So my risk is different to somebody who, let's say, is 19 and in the army and over in Okinawa. I'm not saying he or she's any less valuable. Yeah, all life is valuable for sure. But I'm saying they have a different risk. They have a different number of people counting on them to put them through college and school and the daily grind of this catastrophe that I've created for myself. Okay? I live here in Southern California. I can tell you about catastrophes. Anyways. Point is that my risk and the amount of risk that I have is very different to your risk. And no computer, no strap-on thing around your chest or wrist thing can evaluate your risk. Even environmental risk. What do I mean by environmental? If I am diving in Indonesia off a liveaboard and I'm 24 hours away from Singapore, my risk is completely different than if I'm in the Red Sea and I'm at Ras Mohammed Marine Park and help is only 5 minutes away. My risks are totally different. And the way that I approach the dive will be totally different. And no risk computer or desktop computer can tell me how to do this. That's the power of Ratio Deco, because it is a strategy. It is a strategy on how you ascend safely, considering all the risks. Now, that doesn't mean that I just blindly do it? No. Over here, well, you can't really see it, is a cabinet full of 150 plus books about decompression, about oxygen, about, you name it, to do with decompression. Everything from Buhlmann's models all the way to Haldanian theory, Henry's law, workman adaptations, VPM, RGBM, all of them, including even works from Brian Hills about deep stops, Richard Pyle. I can go on and on and on how we adopted them into the WKPP stuff in Florida, and then what we were doing in the Botanic and so on. All these kinds of things become part of your strategy, because that's what it is. It's a strategy towards DCS. Now, what I've done in the global preparatory class for Ratio Deco is I've taken all that knowledge and condensed it to help you understand what parts do we use towards our diving. You see? And just like gas management, okay, you want to have control on your decompression. See, it's so crazy to me that somebody will come along to me and they'll want to have complete control over their equipment, their configuration, on how they configure their gear. And they will sit there sometimes for hours tweaking, exactly how to tie a bolt snap onto a regulator, but they're fully willing to relinquish control of their decompression to some researcher from 1960, who then, somebody took that model, threw it into a computer, put CYA into that. The main reason I don't use or dive computer tables or use a computer isn't because they can fail. No. It's got nothing to do with that. It's because at the end of the day, they've built so much CYA into it, cover their own ass, that you can barely dive the computer because everybody has got a different risk factor. So they go to the lowest common denominator. Yes, the computer you ran out and spent $1,100 is programmed to the lowest common denominator. Are you that? Are you the person who doesn't look after themselves physically? Are you the person that doesn't actively pursue their skills, actively pursue their ability to maintain decompression time, their stops, actively pursue the most efficient equipment configuration? Because if you're that person who wants to control their equipment configuration, wants to control their gas management, wants to control their skill level, wants to live up to a higher standard when it comes to diving, then how can you throw it all in the drink and blindly follow a computer and just trust that it works? Or worse yet, that it's programmed to work to the lowest common denominator when you're not that. You see, that's the power of Ratio Deco. The power of Ratio Deco is that it works for the simplest recreational diver. Why? Because we have a set point. We say, hey, you know what? Remember this. At 60 feet, 18 meters, you have 50 minutes. That's called the set point. Geez, who can't remember that? All right? 60 feet, 18 meters, 50 minutes. Now remember this. Every 10 foot shallower you go on your dive, you get 10 more minutes. So if you're at 50 feet or 3 meters shallower, which would be 15 meters, guess what? You get 10 more minutes of what is termed NDL industry. So now you get 60 minutes. And if you go 40 feet, you get 10 more minutes. 30 feet, 10 more minutes. 20 feet or 6 minutes, 10 more minutes. And 10 more minutes. Till you're at 10 feet, 3 meters, you get 100 minutes. That is your maximum bottom time allowed before you go into mandatory decompression. We commonly term that as NDL. See how easy that is? And you could learn that in under 2 minutes. In fact, you just learned it. And you also know that leaving 60 feet or 18 meters or leaving 40 feet, 12 meters, simply go up to half the depth. So 50% for the first deep stop. Make a 1 minute stop, including your ascent, up to the next 10 feet, 3 meters, up to the next, and then the last 20 feet, 6 meters, do a 3 minute ascent to the surface. See how easy this is? I mean, I teach this to open water class in less than 3 minutes. Saves them $1,100 on a fancy arm weight that ends up in a junk pile. because nothing could be simpler. So the power of ratio deco is its simplicity to use in the water, coupled with the massive knowledge, which, yes, we'll teach some basic knowledge in open water, and then consistently teach to Rec 2, Rec 3, on into technical, the wealth of information. Or you can simply just take the global preparatory class and get all of those 8 hours downloaded to in one online class. And the point is that you'll learn all the different strategies that we've combined into ratio deco. You'll learn all the different strategies. So even if you don't, whatever ratio deco, you've learned decompression. It's right here in your head. I've taken the 150 books worth of knowledge and given it all to you and saying, look here, we use the 5th time compartment to calculate this piece of our decompression. And this is why. So you go, wow, that actually makes sense. Dear, okay, now get it. And then you find out that the implementation is as easy as pie, man. Immediately you go 100 feet, I'm on nitrox, that's 30 meters, I'm on nitrox, that's 30 minutes. Nothing to it. If I go shallower, I get 5 more minutes. I get 35, 40, 45, 50. I mean, ding, 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 ding. The lights should be going on in your head going, so why do I need a computer? You don't. Computers are for dummies. Bottom line. For people who want to go cruise ship diving once a year, want to blindly follow somebody, don't want to take the sport the way as a sport, as a passion. They just want to go see the pretty fishes. Cool! That's them. Completely agree. But if you are passionate about your diving and you're passionate about your configuration and you analyze every little piece of your gear because you believe that you're going to have the best configuration, the best skills, you get in the water and you train and you practice and you work, then you should be doing exactly the same for your decompression strategy. You should not blindly following some table that somebody says you should follow. Anyways, if you have any questions about UTD or about ratio deco, feel free to email me at info@unifiedteamdiving.com. And as always, gang, safe diving.